Alright, hey, Hades Omega here, and welcome to another video in the Hades Omega Moto Garage. Today, Hades Omega will be making some Supermoto sliders, or track sliders, or fork sliders for my Sora Lightbeat with the Manitou Dorado Expert forks, alright? And so, I used to have the RSD Kilo forks, and it was really easy to make a set of sliders for that bike, and this one is not so easy. It's a little bit more difficult. All right, I will show you what I was running before, and then I'm going to show you something I'm going to make tonight, hopefully it'll work, and hopefully it'll help some of you guys out there that are trying to take your Sura Lightbeats on the racetrack. If you don't know, you need to have bar ends, all right, or hand guards so your bike slides when it hits the ground. You need axle sliders, all right? So that's what I'm building right now. I'm making axle sliders for my front fork, and then you need a foot peg sliders, all right? My bike has foot peg sliders. I am running the Warp 9 foot pegs with the Supermoto sliders on them, okay? And then I've got my homemade Supermoto sliders for the rear axle, right? I use a little plate and some skateboard wheels as a sliding puck, okay? And you need those things if you're going to be riding your bike on a racetrack, and more specifically a kart track. You probably don't want to take this on a big bike track, okay? I think if you took it on the big bike track, I don't think they would care if you had all that stuff, but on the go-kart tracks, they do want you to have that kind of stuff, all right? It's so when your bike goes down, it slides and it doesn't catch on, it doesn't catch on the ground and cartwheel and yard sail itself, all right? You don't want that to happen. And two, yeah, you want it to slide, and the sliders actually protect the bike from more damage, all right? You want the bike to slide, and you don't want, and then there's a couple other things, but it doesn't pertain to this bike because it's an electric bike. There's nothing to really spill out of it. If there's something spilling out of your Sura Lightbeat, there is seriously something wrong, okay? Your battery's, like, something happened to your battery or something, right? That's really bad, okay? But anyway, so I installed this Manitou Dorado Expert fork here. This is one of the newer models, all right? I think it's a 2021 model. The axle design is a little different from its previous models, all right? So I'm going to show you what the axle looks like, and then we're going to build a axle slider for it, okay? And I'll show you how my old setup worked and how we're going to adapt it to work with this, all right? Basically, you just need to put something over the fork axle, so when your bike goes down, it'll slide on that, and it'll protect your axle too. It'll protect your fork from getting all scratched up. So it's a good thing to have, you know. It's kind of annoying. It kind of gets in the way when you try to take the wheel off and stuff. I really only need it for the racetrack, okay? I've gone down a couple times, and it does protect the bike. All right. So let me show you the axle, and then let me show you my old axle, and then what I'm proposing to build. So Hades Omega does this thing called the scientific method. All right. So you have what's called a thesis, all right, or a theory, all right, and then you do the experiment. That means, like, you know, make a plan, and then you carry it out, and then like, did it work or not in the end, all right? What could you do to improve it to get to be successful, that type of thing, all right? That's the scientific method for the gist of it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the axle real quick. Okay, let's take a look at this lovely Manitou Dorado Expert fork, all right? So there it is. This is the axle setup. All right, so the axle consists of 3 parts, all right, on the Dorado. It's what's called a Hex Lock Axle, so there's a little hexagon shaped thing somewhere in here. I think it's like in here, something that keeps it from moving, one of those. All right, and then so you've got the actual axle itself, all right, the long part that goes through the wheel, all right, and then you've got a plate and a bolt, all right. So there's a plate here that secures the bolt in the center, all right. It's a 5mm bolt. It's much smaller than the bolt that's on the RST fork. To tell you the truth, Hayes Omega is not a big fan of this axle, all right. I actually like the RST axle because it's easier and simpler to put on, all right. But I understand why they did this. It centers the axle a lot better. Okay, so anyway, there's this plate in here, and it's like, I think it's screwed into the fork leg right here, okay? And then you've got this bolt in the center that floats in there. I think there's like a clip that holds it in there that keeps it from coming out, but it just kind of floats in there until it reaches the other side of the axle, right? So basically, the axle pushes in from the other side, and it's got that bolt in there, right? So that's the problem. That bolt is much smaller than the one that was on the RST fork, so we can't use those fork sliders that were on the RST fork. So we've got to, I've got to craft something else, all right? And so, like I said, it's got 3 parts. However, the other end, let's take a look at that. Okay, however, the other end, all right, this end right here is very big. Look, I'm gonna stick my finger in it. All right, so there's a huge difference in the size of the holes, so this is really bad actually, okay? Because if I was to put a threaded rod in there, all right, that's what we used to make Supermoto sliders with, all right, the low buck ones. If I was to put a threaded rod in there, it would flop around in this hole. Well, it's not good, all right. So Hayes Omega is planning to make a little sleeve or a bushing that presses into here, all right. It doesn't necessarily have to be press fit, really tight, but it's got to be in there so to keep this from moving around, because you can see there's a lot of play in there, right? So, okay, so let me show you what I was running on my old axle. Okay, look at the operating table. Here it is. All right, so this is my old the RST fork slider, okay, for axle slider. So basically, it consists of, and I made a video about how to do this a while ago. I don't know if anybody's using it, but so this is what's called all thread, or it's a threaded rod, all right? So, and that's what these are, okay? You can find these fairly easily in your local hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot, okay? And it's basically, it's cut to size so it fits, it's long enough to go through the whole axle, all right? And the fork. All right, and then it's got a little spacer, all right? I believe this is it's a bushing from a sway bar. It's a sway bar bushing is what it is, all right? You could use washers, anything in there that will push this away from the fork, because if you tried to put the skateboard wheel, okay, so these are what are called pucks, okay? The pucks are the ones that does all the sliding, okay? These are skateboard wheels, all right? I bought some, your usual skateboard wheels. I think these are like a 90A or 98A. You should buy the stiffest or the hardest. The sliders are rated in what's called durometer, okay? And that's how hard the compound is for the skateboard wheel, okay? You want the hardest compound you can get. Somewhere in the 90s, 90 to 100 durometer range, okay? And it's rated, the way they call it is like A. There's an A after the number. So like 90A, 100A, 101A, that tells you how hard the skateboard wheel is. So you want something like more than 90, okay? Around 90 or more, okay? What that means is that the compound, all right, is very stiff. It's very hard. All right, where this one is softer. See how I can squeeze it? This one I can't squeeze it. It's like a plastic. It's really hard. And the harder the better, because it'll slide better. All right, you want it to slide. You don't want traction. All right, you don't need traction. You want it to slide. All right. So that's why you get the stiffest puck you can. All right. So it's basically a skateboard wheel, and it has a washer that I've pressed into it. All right, to fit in there, because the hole, as you can see, the hole is pretty big, okay? So we gotta kind of have to do the same thing with the new axle. But anyway, at the end there's a what's this called? A cap nut. All right. There's a cap nut on one end, and then there's a nylon locking nut on the other end to keep it from, you know, vibrating out. Okay, and that's pretty much how it goes. Let me go install it on my old fork. All right, this is my old RST fork. This is the one I actually like better. This is the good old white RST fork, the one that actually does something, you know. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, let me show you how this works. So there's the axle. So this axle is the same size all the way through. I think it was man, what size was this? I think it's an 8mm. Yeah, I think it's an 8mm Allen head bolt. All right, and it's hollow all the way through. All right, even the cap nut is hollow. It's the same size on each end, so that's actually a good thing. All right, because it adds support to each side. All right, so here's the slider. What I'm gonna do is I'll probably just remove the cap nut. You can do it either way. Okay. And then what I would do is pull this off, all right? Pull the puck and the spacer out. I'm going to push this in the other end. Okay. Put this end back on. Okay. And then screw the nut back on. Okay. I would put it tighter than that, but okay, so you get how that spacer works. All right, there's spacers here that push this out. Now, if it was, I don't know, some legit Supermoto sliders, they actually have that spacer built into it. All right, there'll be like a little cup, and then you can screw the puck on there. But this is like some homemade stuff. Okay, I'm showing you guys how to make a low buck Supermoto slider. All right, so that's how I did it on the RST fork. So we got to do something similar for the Dorado fork. However, we've got a problem that bolt, all right, the hole that goes through the axle I showed you is only 5mm, right? That's 5mm versus the 8mm we have here. So we can't use the same rod. So I had to design something different, all right? That's what I want to say. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a smaller rod. Okay, so I think this rod is like a 5/16 or a 3/8 or something. It's enough where it fits through that hole properly, all right? So you can see I've got, this is a 1/4. This fits through there, but there's a lot of play. Okay, you kind of, as much as possible, you probably don't want that much play, all right? This has a teeny tiny bit of play. That's fine, all right? I think this is the same size, all right? That's the size that you want. Okay, and then this is the like a number 10 threaded rod. Okay. Okay, so for this would be the best one, all right? But the other one, it won't fit. So as you can see here, it'll fit on the other side. Plenty of room on the other side. As you can see, you get a huge axle slider in there, but nope, nothing here. Nothing on this side. This side is way too small, all right? Nothing is going through there, all right? And so that's the best way to do it, is to use this as like a kind of like an axle or a spool, all right? So you can get it all the way through and bolt the axle sliders to there. They don't make axle sliders for this. I don't know who tracks their bike that has a Dorado fork. Okay, so right. I bought a number of threaded rods. I knew we had to make a smaller version of this, all right? We just needed a thinner rod so we can get it all the way through. This is, I think, a 1/4. Yep, this is a 1/4 inch. Does it fit through the hole? No, it doesn't. Okay, it's just it's like just the right size type of thing. It's not going in. Okay, but this is the smallest one I could get. This is a number 10. I don't even know what size a number 10 is, all right? But this is number 10. All right, so it's a common, you know, SAE size, I guess. It's number 10. Trying to get in the hole. There we go. It fits pretty good. It just got a teeny bit of play, but that's perfect, right? So that goes all the way through. The problem with this, though, is this. Yeah, there's a lot of play on the other end. That's the problem. All right, did I scratch that? Is that else? No, okay. Stuff coming off of the rod. So this is what we're going to use for our threaded rod material, okay? This guy, okay? And so I bought some cap nuts All right, so this this quarter, these are 1/4 inch. We're not going to use those because the quarter didn't fit. All right, but I got a number 10 cap nut and a number 10 nylon locking nut is what this is. Okay, you can find all this stuff at your local Home Depot or Lowe's or hardware store. All right, they got all this stuff. All right, and it's made by a brand called Everbuilt. Okay, good stuff. So we're going to cut this. So the first step is that, yeah, let's cut this down the size, and then we'll put these over there. And also what I did is I got these 2 kind of Fender washers. They fit over the number 10 hole. Okay, we're going to need that because the hole is pretty big in here. Okay, I mean, I guess we could just put a better washer in there, but it'll work if we just do that. Okay, I think let's try it. But yeah. Anyway, that's gonna go in there like that, right? But it'll be the other end. I guess it'll move around a little bit. The best thing to do would be to get a bigger washer like this. But we're in like the kind of prototype stage. I will make a better one later. Okay. Yeah, the best thing to do would be to press this washer out and then find another washer like this. That's this diameter, and then press it into the wheel. Okay, but we can't do that right now. Okay, I don't want to do that right now. Okay, I'll have to find another washer like this. Okay, but this will work. This will do for now. That's what I'll say. The first step is, yeah, we're gonna go make this for that fork. We're gonna be using this threaded rod. All right, so I'm gonna go measure it, and then first let's put the cap nut on it, and I'll put one of the wheels and the spacers, and we'll kind of mock it up. All right. Okay, there it is. So you get the gist of it. So we've got our cap nut here. Okay, and then there's the spacer. There's the puck. All right, and then there's the washer, the washer that we have to add to there. Okay. And the cap nut goes over that. Okay, that makes an end for it, and there you go. And it's on there. Now it's got a lot of play. All right, like I said, this is the prototype stage. I will try to see if I can fix that later. Find something better, all right? But for now, I think that'll work, all right? Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. But remember that sleeve I was talking about? So the Supermoto slider doesn't flop around in the axle. All right, you know what? I think it might be fine. I'll do this after, but what I want to do is make a bushing or sleeve that fits into the axle. All right, the axle hole on the other end that will decrease the diameter size. All right, so here, as you can see, I've got a rod. All right, it's an aluminum rod that I got off of Amazon. All right, it's from a company called Uxel or something. Uxel. It's the same company where I bought the headset bearing for the replacement headset bearing for the Light Bee. All right, same brand. All right, but they also make these rods that for a lathe. Now I have a lathe right here. All right, it's a Harbor Freight lathe. I never freaking use it because Hazelmeg doesn't really know how to use a lathe, but we're gonna try. All right. I've been setting it up for a little while, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this. We're gonna reduce the size. All right, we're gonna turn it down. All right, we're gonna turn it down to the point where we can just either press it in or we could just keep it in there. All right. So as you can see, it's almost the right size to fit in that hole. All right. All we got to do is make it a little bit smaller, and then we should be good. All right. In fact, I think there's a step in there. Oh yeah, nope. Yeah, there's some kind of step somewhere. There's a step somewhere in there, but well, the good thing is we've got plenty of material to work with. All right. This is more than enough to make that bushing. All right. So basically, that's what all that's going to do is we're going to reduce the size of that hole. That's all we're going to do. All right. We're going to make that hole small like this. All right. So it matches the other side, so it doesn't flop around in the axle. If you were to crash or something, it'll flop around. All right. Well, do I think we really need it? I don't know yet. Let's go make this axle fork slider. All right. First, but as you can see, it's already got a hole drilled into it. All right. This lathe actually has a drill bit. All right. there's a chuck on it, so we can actually drill stuff in the center too, but we don't need it because this is already the perfect size. A number 10 fits in that hole, so it's perfect. See, look at that, it fits in there like a glove. So Hazemaker got lucky. I bought the right rod. Right, if you guys want to know where I bought this, I will put a link in the Amazon. I will put the Amazon link in the description of this video if you want to know where you can buy one of these. Those of you with the lathes, you probably don't even need a lathe. You can probably just get a Dremel tool and then get a die grinder and just keep on grinding it until it fits in there. All right, so you could do that too. But a lathe is a more precision tools. What I say, all right. You know, there's a precision, and then there's, you know, not so precision. Okay, so let's go make this. We'll make this slider here, all right, first, and then we'll work from there. All right. Okay, just like I made the old slider, we're gonna put the threaded rod through it, all right, with the stuff that's already in there, all right. You know what, this is gonna be a real pain in the ass to get all this stuff through there, because you've got kind of like a void in between, right? So I gotta take this sticker off. It's not fitting with the sticker. Yeah, take this off. Okay, took the sticker off so it goes all the way through. All right. Stick it in the hole, the big hole, and then try to stick it through the little hole. Okay, that wasn't too hard. Okay, you can see it on the other end. Here's this side. Okay. Looks good already, right? Oh yeah, so we definitely need that spacer. It wouldn't fit. It would hit the axle. It would hit the round part of the axle, of the fork. It would hit the fork, and it would hit this this fork guard. So it actually would protect your fork guard too. So that's good. That's a plus. All right. Okay. Here we go. So I'm gonna go put. We're gonna put the spacer in first. All right. And we're gonna put the wheel with the new washer, our prototype washer. Okay. And then now we know how much to cut. Okay. Let me make sure this is all up in there, but it looks good. Okay. That looks like it'll do the job. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scribe it right here, and that's how much we're going to cut. Okay. Yeah. Scribe it right where, you know. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to hold it so it's nice and tight. I'm going to pull on it, and then I'm going to mark it like right here. Okay. Probably want to cut a little bit inward. We try to not have this rod stick out, because if the rod sticks out too much, it'll scrape the track, you know. Oh yeah, also another reason that you want this is so you don't damage the racetrack too. That's another reason they want you to have that. Okay. So let's go cut that down to size. Okay, I've got it all set up on my vise. So the mark is right here. Okay, I don't mind if I damage the threads here, because we're not going to use any of this to screw anything on. All right, all this is going to be inside the axle. Okay, so I'm going to cut it right where the black ends. Okay. Okay, so yeah, also I'm gonna clean the end with this tool right here. I don't even think this is gonna work. It's too small, too big. It actually works a little bit. So what this does is it cleans the end. All right, kind of reams the end so you can get a nut or bolt. It's not actually doing anything. Okay, figured it out. Okay, I was able to get this cap nut over it, so it should be good to go now. Alright, let's go try to install it. Okay. Gonna put it in from the other end. Hopefully you can get it through the other end. There we go. Okay. Put the puck in. Put the bolt in. What the hell? There we go. Fits, and it looks good. Okay, I put 2 cap nuts in, but we're gonna. Okay, there you go. So for the most part, we got a Supermoto slider. So the problem is, you can see one side is higher than the other. The problem is this. This moves around a whole lot. All right, I don't like that. All right, so that's why I want to make that sleeve. So, but anyway, part 1 is done. All right, so that's the first part. We're gonna make this the spool part. All right, the spool part for the Supermoto sliders. For the most part, it works. Okay, but it has a lot of play in it. So there's 2 places. There's play, is where the threaded rod goes through the first washer. The reason I put the fender washer on top of the other washer is so this one has something to bite on, okay? Because it might just go straight through the hole, okay? That won't happen with this. But it's really, you know, it moves around a whole lot. You can see. I mean, I guess that's good enough to get me on the track, you know, type of thing, but it's not good enough for Hades Bag. Okay? So we've got two problems that we need to fix with this. All right? But it looks okay right now already. So there's 2 things we got to fix. We got to fix that floppiness, all right? See how much it flops around like that? I guess if you tighten it enough, it won't flop around too much. But this side definitely flops around a lot, all right? And that's because you've got that big old hole in it, all right? Yeah. Another thing is we could do... Yeah, I don't know. I think the best thing to do would be to make that sleeve. All right, so that's the next... so we got 2 things to do, all right? I've got to find another washer that we can press into there that has a smaller diameter hole, just like the hole that is on this washer. That'll keep it. That'll keep the skateboard wheel from moving around. All right, but there's a big difference. All right, see, this side doesn't move as much. See, oh, this one's only the skateboard wheel moves around. This one moves a whole lot. Okay, I don't like that, dude. That's not good. But will that get you on the track? Probably. All right. So, but anyway, yeah. So we're gonna make that sleeve that goes into the axle to reduce the size of that hole. All right, and then it should be the same hole size on each side, and you won't have this problem. Right? It'll eliminate that problem, and then we gotta eliminate this problem. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna get a different washer with a smaller hole that fits in the hole for the skateboard wheel perfectly, okay? And then that should do the trick. All right. So that's the first part done. We've successfully cut the rod down. All right, so we can put the pucks on there, and it looks like it'll work. All right, but like I said, it's kind of floppy in 2 places, so I'm gonna try and make that better. Make that bow better. Let me see. Let me go tighten it down real good, and let me see how much it moves if I tighten it down more. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna tighten this. And maybe we should put both things, but it actually works with 2 cap nuts. It looks like it's bending it actually. Yeah, the rod is actually bending inside. I could see it. It's moving up. Will that just bust right off? I don't know, man. I personally, I would rather have the thickest rod that you can get going through there, but we can't do it because of that freaking bolt there. Unless we'd have to re-engineer the axle, and I kind of don't want to do that. But anyway, it's pretty secure actually. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Okay, but Hazebeg is gonna. So that'll work for now. It's pretty tight on there, but I think it's like doing this. It's like bowing inside. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna put those the washers in there that are the correct size inside the wheel, and then I will make that bushing to reduce the size on there, so the other side, the big hole side, doesn't flop around. Okay. But I kind of don't like having to use this thinner rod. I think it's better to have a thicker rod, but there's nothing we can do about it, you know? The hole's just so small. Okay. I hope it didn't bend the rod. Let's see. Did it bend it? Oh, I think it did bend it. Way to find out. Put on the ground. Yeah, it didn't bend it. As you can see, it still rolls perfectly fine on the ground, so it didn't bend it. I might have cranked down on too much. Okay, so anyway, in the next part of the video, we'll make those spacers. All right.